All right, good morning, guys. I think it's up and running. I'm just getting set in my chair here, and then we're going to start. If this is your first time watching, my name is Kelsey Humphreys. I'm host and producer of the success talk show, The Pursuit. I spent about 4,000 hours in the last 2 years studying success. And so what we're going to do is talk about a specific productivity hack today. All right, let's see here. Hey guys, I'm going to get my tablet up and running to look at comments. If you're watching on YouTube, it has been really buggy. I'm sorry. YouTube Live has just not been working well enough. So for now, we're going to have to just watch on Facebook. If you are watching on Facebook, I'm about to get situated so that I can see your comments. But we're going to do comments at the end, you guys, because I really want to dive into this particular productivity tip and how we can hack our lives to just be more successful and awesome and fabulous. And so we will go through today's tip. I'll kind of talk things through, and then we will get into your comments. So, all right, we're talking about productivity this month, and if you watched my quick video that I post every Tuesday, which is kind of a teaser about what we're talking about in the live show on Wednesdays, is to relieve the strain on your brain, okay? And I want to tell you how to do that today, and then I want to take your questions on where you get stuck when it comes to productivity and creating a lot of good work and being present in your life and having peace. And I just want to talk about all of that good stuff, which all comes from or can be helped with what we're talking about today, which is relieving the strain on your brain. So a lot of people ask me, in the last year specifically, but I've been working on my show for the last couple years, and for the last few months, what that means is I've been putting out multiple videos and articles per week. And including live streams and doing stuff on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I respond to pretty much every comment. I read every email. I send a once a week email. I have a monthly magazine we publish. So it's a lot. Kind of gave me anxiety just talking all that out. But people ask, how are you doing that? And part of it, as I talked about last week, is that this is my full-time gig. I'm not doing a show and a magazine and articles to try to funnel people into a consulting business or into my online course. I sell advertising and I get paid to write. So the content I'm creating is the product. So that's a huge part of it. But another huge part of it is that I've learned over time to quit trying to force my brain to do all this extra work, which allows me, when I sit and create, to bust things out faster, to do better work, to be more excited about my work, to have more energy throughout the day. Now, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I'm exhausted at night. I sit and watch 2 hours of TV and I go to bed. My husband and I are usually in bed like rock stars by 10 p.m., and so then some days when I'm doing a lot, or weeks when I'm doing a lot of writing, I wake up at 5. I try and write before my toddler wakes up. Lately that has not worked out. And this morning, I turned around and she was just on the couch, chilling, even though it was well before time for her to wake up. So it's not always perfect, okay? But part of being able to really create well and do a lot under pressure and do a lot in a short amount of time is to do what I'm talking about today, which was relieving the strain on your brain, okay? And this is not just for me. One of the interviews that really talks about this is with my interview with Ramit Sethi, who is a blogger and a finance guru, an investor. He's really, really smart, and he talked a lot about this, and he has a lot of content about it. And so after my interview with him, I stepped up my game a little bit, but I had started doing it beforehand. So here's some examples, okay? I hope a lot of you have heard of decision fatigue. So you wake up, you do the things that are mindless, which is good because it doesn't strain your brain. So you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, maybe you wash your face, you start the coffee pot. These are things that don't require your brain. And then for a lot of us, it switches into, what am I going to wear? Now, I think the reason that capsule wardrobes are all the rage and people are KonMariing all over the place is because our brains are freaking stressed out. We need a break. We're all on overload. And so one of the ways to relieve strain on your brain is to streamline your wardrobe so that you look at your wardrobe and it's not another massive decision. So the and bloodshot, to be honest. But I feel confident in those colors. I feel like they look good with my skin tone. And I just quit buying everything else. I'll also wear black sometimes. But, you know, that helped me. It not only helps me when I'm picking out what to wear, but it helps me when I go to shop. If I decide, you know, I've worn out, you know, all my favorites and I need something new, immediately over half the store, I don't even look at it, which is awesome. Because again, it cuts all the time in half. I'm not stressed out. You know, I easily know what to look for. It makes everything better. Same thing for when I do an interview. I wear solid color dresses or solid color shirts and black pants. I wear pretty much the same pair of shoes. So other people do this, like massively successful people, okay, like Tony Robbins, you know, he eats the same meals pretty much. He has the same morning routines. And a lot of people choose their meals based on what's going to fuel them. And they eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch. Or they have almost like a capsule wardrobe. They kind of have a capsule diet. And like, so a lot of these successful people I interview now have chefs. One day, hashtag someday, when we all get to that point, right? They have chefs and trainers who will, you know, customize their workouts and customize what they're eating and the meals, but they're all kind of streamlined. Again, not very many decisions. Another huge one that I see this with people I love in my life and people who write in and ask questions or people who I keep up with online and fellow entrepreneurs and other writers. And like, guys, quit making your brain remember so much stuff. Like it's not like we get a badge. No one knows or cares if you remember all that stuff on your own versus writing it down, having an app, you know, getting an assistant. Like some people equate getting an assistant or hiring a virtual assistant or hiring someone to help as like you couldn't hack it on your own. There are some things that are no longer worth your brain power, okay? There are some things that's just not worth it anymore. Think about how much you're worth an hour, whether you are a mom, which you can add up to the dollar, you're worth a crap ton if you're a stay-at-home mom and you are a chef and you are a house cleaner and you are probably an accountant and all these other things that you do. Add up your hourly rate. There are some things that are just not worth your time anymore. And if you want to get to the end of the day and still be loving to your family and still be happy and maybe still have some ideas left, if you're someone who has to work creatively after your full-time job, then you need to figure out a way to streamline your days. You need to minimize decisions. You need to make processes. So I have some more examples, like for example, when I write a blog post or an article for one of the magazines, I always do it the same way. I pull the quotes, I organize it into steps, and then I elaborate a little bit. But I'm not trying to write, to be honest, that's why it's hard for me to work on my book right now, because I have such a system when it comes to creating articles. I can do it quickly. I sit and do it. Same thing with editing videos. I still do a lot of editing myself. I do have an editor who helps me, and I do have an assistant who helps, and I have an intern. So it's not like I'm doing all this myself, you guys, which is a key, as I just mentioned. But, you know, it's harder for me to do some of the creative work that's intimidating to me because I have some other things down to such a system, editing videos the same way each time, you know, and I only update that like once a season. So if you are someone who really needs to be creative and explore the space, well, tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this style for a quarter. That's 3 months, you know, 3 months you're going to stick to a style. You know, you can do things in batches. You can create a lot more faster, higher quality, because again, what that means, like, I know some of you are probably listening and thinking, well, if you're doing stuff in like a formula like that and you're going so quick, how can it be high quality? And I'll tell you why. Because I'm spending the time really trying to find the nuggets of really meaningful information rather than sitting there and thinking, all right, how am I going to structure this? What am I going to title this? How am I going to pitch this? Or whatever, all the other outlying stuff I don't think about because that's streamlined. So instead I get to really focus on the meat. I think what's most meaningful to the readers of entrepreneur.com who are going to read this article, or success.com or Huffington Post or wherever I'm writing for. You know, the person who's watching this video, what pieces of nuggets are really going to help them the most so that I can edit the rest out? Those are the meaningful questions. That's the important work. And your brain is equipped to do that. Your brain is able to, you know, just engage and be present because you're not trying to remember things. Like when you get home in the evening, or if your, you know, family gets home and it's time for family time, you can actually engage with people because all the ideas you had swirling around, all the things you need to do, your massive lists, you've put them somewhere else rather than trying to force your brain to do it all, okay? Quit trying to, and if you're not trying to be Superman, you just haven't, let me guess, you probably download productivity apps and you have lists and you're just not keeping up with it. That needs to be a goal for you to start keeping up with those things in order to give yourself your best work. If this is your first time watching me, which I hope, guys, if you're watching this and this has been valuable, I hope you'll share it because I want people to see this, because my goal as a creator and a publisher, I want to help you become your best self and give the world your best work. I believe we are capable of way more than we think. Okay, I went from 0 to Tony Robbins in 18 months with the talk show, an unknown writer. I mean, I still live in a flyover state in suburbia, toddler mom. I'm wearing sweatpants right now. We're in my tiny home office. Okay, you can do more than you think. I am a living testimony to that. The other thing is, I think we overthink things. So that's why I'm trying to break this down. Okay, so now I'm going to pull up my tablet here, and hopefully this is working. And I'm going to take you guys' questions. There is a little bit of a delay, so we'll see. Obviously, of course, it's not working. Oh, while I'm waiting for this to load, don't forget that if you want the productivity worksheets, you can go to the pursuit.tv/productivity. And that has a chart like we talked about last week where you can track your activities that you're doing towards your dreams and goals. And it has more than just that one exercise. For those of you who watched last week, of course, guys, my tablet's not working now. For those of you who watched last week and you thought, well, I don't really need the chart, there's other things in the worksheets at thepursuit.tv/productivity. So you give me your email address and then I give you the whole productivity section from this month's magazine. Why is it saying, oh, sometimes, guys, if you want your tablet to work, you have to have the Wi-Fi on. So clearly I'm very professional. I hope some industry veterans are watching me fail right now. That would be great. Okay, so hopefully you guys are putting out some questions, and then I will see when I get this up and running. I don't know why this isn't working. If I can't get this to work, let me see if I have a... Stick with me, guys, because I want to answer your specific questions about productivity, okay? Now I have to remember my Wi-Fi password. I'm turning red. I can feel myself turning red. This is the beauty of... Let's see, is it still working? Okay, now we should be up and running. And I've probably lost all of you guys who were watching. For anyone who's terrified of going live, this is why it's a scary business. But I wanted to talk to you guys to see where you get stuck and where you're having trouble imagining how to automate things, because it's not easy to think through your life in terms of what can I streamline and what can I make automated and what can I make better and all that. But there are lots of ways. I mean, just thinking about like, if you watch throughout your day on where you're making decisions, what all the things you have to decide and work through every single day, that's the answer on where you can streamline things. Sorry guys, I'm almost there. I have my Wi-Fi on now. And I really should have, Wednesday mornings is the one time where Shatoya, who makes everything function around here, cannot be with me in the office. And so I should not have picked Wednesday mornings for my time to go live, because she would be here helping me, and that would be awesome. So as you guys... Okay, I'm seeing comments now. Why won't it let me click on this? I'm going to give up in a few seconds. For those of you who are watching the replay and you're like, okay, I'm out on this deal, just get the worksheets and go through it yourself. And I will just have to forget about this because I don't know why it's not working. Here, let me change this. I mean, it looks promising, and then every time I click on it, guys, your comments aren't showing up. So let me just tell you what, I will just go through and I'll answer all of your comments by typing it out. That's not as much fun, but it's more fun than you guys watching me like fumble all over myself right now. So I'll try one last thing, which will be to search for myself and see if my live stream comes up. And if it does, then I will see your comments. If it doesn't, we'll be done. Okay, I see there's comments. That's exciting. Okay. Oh, now I can hear myself. Okay, so I hired a tutor to do homework with my boys in the afternoon. Melissa says I also grocery shop online. That is another one, you guys, and I've thought about hiring someone to do grocery shopping for me and things like that, again, because I'm just trying to figure out I would rather spend that quality time with my child rather than buying her food. So I'm trying to work through my own mom guilt, if you can't tell. Corey, thank you. Dina, thank you. And so that's another one. Like, if you've streamlined your diet, then you've streamlined your groceries, which makes it easier to pass off to someone that you can hire to help you if you hire a chef or a personal shopper. So does anyone I see some good comments here, but I didn't see anyone asking specific questions. But groceries is another great one. I mean, I have it pretty much down to like what we're going to eat each week. We eat the same few meals. Luckily, my husband doesn't mind. You may have a husband or a family who, really wants variety in their life. But as for me, I would rather eat the same, 10, 14 meals that we really love. And then every so often we'll add something new. Kara says, don't give up. Well, I didn't, but I feel like a lot of people left our live stream because I was fumbling all over myself for so long. I don't see all the comments, so if you guys commented earlier and I didn't see it, comment again because I don't see them all. Okay, guys. Jackie says, I'm afraid I'll become a hermit. Are you still there? Okay, I'm watching. Okay, Jackie says, I'm afraid I'll become a hermit if I hire and automate too much and not see people ever. Valid concern. But again, what is the most meaningful work for you, Jackie? I know you're a comedian. The most meaningful work is for you to create, so to be writing and to be out there doing shows. To be out there doing shows and networking, you physically can't be home alone. Okay. Plus for me, I'll be honest, I mean, this is interaction when you're solo and you work from home, other than the days when Shatoya comes over, my assistant. Then when I do live streams, that's when I get to see you guys and talk to people. I don't go to local networking events because that's not the kind of network I'm trying to build. And when I go to New York or LA, then I do try and do in-person meetings. So I think it's like, again, you have to prioritize, which goes back to last week's chart. If you don't have the chart, you guys, thepursuit.tv/productivity. And you have to decide what's most important and then outsource the things that aren't. And you will not become a hermit. I mean, you won't. And if you do become a little bit of a hermit, like what society would consider a little bit of a hermit, which people would probably say that about me because I work from home, I spend so much time at home. If that work is better in changing the world, then so be it. I don't really care. Justina says, I have control issues. I'm working on that. The thing about it is, you guys, is that major decisions, when you're streamlining and automating something and handing it off to somebody else, the major decisions are already made. I mean, you're making the big decisions and then they're making the small decisions. So like with social media for me, which is all automated now, I still take control of the tone. I still write a lot of the text. And then it's Shatoya and the intern's job to actually schedule it all, to make sure we're not promoting the same things over and over. But I'm the one doing the heavy lifting. And that's the thing. When you create a system or a process, you have to stop. You have to sit down. You have to think it through in order to hand it off. So even though it seems like you would be losing control, you're really not if you're doing it right. Biggest productivity advice: to regularly start doing a blog and video posts. Melanie. Melanie, I think the easiest thing to do to get started and stay regular is to think about the subject matter and do a brain dump. And so for me, one thing that helps, like for example, I do two weekly videos now, is I have it categorized by month. So in January, we talked about goal setting. In February, we're talking about productivity. Next week, we're talking about happiness. And so I have it set into categories, and then all I'm thinking about is 4 pieces of content, or 5, one for each week for that subject matter. Okay, so what you need to think through, I think, is breaking your content up. And if you can't think of 4 little tidbits, again, keep it small. I think one thing is people think you have to have really long, massive posts and really meaty videos, and you don't. You want to break down one tip or, a few tips per piece of content. So you're really talking about, just finding a chunk, 1 per week. You want 1 video per week, 1 blog post per week. And breaking it out into subcategories by month really helps me. You could do by quarter or whatever works for you. Corey says, how do you not micromanage? Well, Corey, you have to set up the system right on the front end, and then you have to hire the right people. If you don't trust them, if they're not capable, then it's not going to work. I love Shatoya. She's amazing. She had corporate communications experience, and then she had freelance experience, so she knew what it was like to be out on her own. She came recommended by another person who runs their own business, and I knew she had more experience than just being great at managing social media. She had also been in corporate America with lots of moving parts. That's what I was looking for. So see, I wasn't looking for someone who could manage social media. I was looking for someone who could manage lots of moving parts, because that's what I have. So you have to really know what you're looking for, really find the right person, and make the right system. Frida, breaking up the day into 15-minute bits. The whole day. I could not do that, Frida. I break up my day into 45 minutes or sometimes 2 hours. I'm someone who can sit and get really focused for, 3 or 4 hours if it's something big, and just really hone in. Not everyone is that way. The most I've heard is to break your day up into 45-minute content chunks with 15-minute breaks. So that's basically hours, 45-minute hard work creation, 15-minute mind break, answer emails, respond to social media, and then doing that throughout the day. Lakin says, clean lifestyle, best way to get engaged readers. Content is key, but I find myself stuck in comparison with others. I can't see the rest of your comment, but I definitely, again, I think you need to think through your unique voice. Forget about all of the people you see online, because when you're comparing yourself to someone else, chances are they've been doing it and you just found them. Unless there's someone you know locally, if you stumbled upon their content, that means that they put out enough to have you find them, which means they've probably been doing this for 2 years or 5 years. Some people 10 years. People look at Marie Forleo. She did odd jobs for 7 years building her brand, and now she's been launching B School for I think that long. Okay, so definitely don't compare yourself to others. And if I'm not going to lie. I mean, I still look at competitors and people I wish that I was like them and people who are similar to me. And instead, what I think about is their strategy and how many years I have to beat them, which is maybe showing you guys how crazy I am. But what I look at is I think, okay, well, if they got that far in the next 3 years, I want to get twice as far in the next 3 years, or something that motivates me rather than just thinking, they're so much further along than me, I suck, which is what happens sometimes. But I try to guard against that. And then again, to get started with a regular health and lifestyle blog, I think you need to focus on Instagram. I think you need to focus on Pinterest. And I think you need to think about weekly chunks of content. Another great thing to think about, you guys, is snackable content and long form content. So for right now, I do a 30-minute live stream, which I think my phone is going to die before we get to the end of this, even though when I started it was at max battery. So that's awesome. But 30-minute of a live stream, that's long form content. To think of anyone sticking with a show for 30 minutes online is kind of crazy. So thank you guys for doing it. But the short term is short snackable content is my Instagram posts and a 2.5 minute video and, short things. My interviews are an hour long. For the most part, my episodes are 30 minutes to an hour. Again, really long form content. But my short form content on entrepreneur.com is a 10-minute video and an article that takes 5 to 7 minutes to read. So you want to think about thinking about how to take one piece of content per week and break it up into snackable, long form, maybe a medium form, like for example, doing an Instagram story about it. And then the key, guys, is to really plan it out so you can be consistent. I mean, if you're looking at January, 5 pieces of content for January, 4 pieces of content for February, if you write it out ahead of time and then you just keep going, when you have that consistency, you'll gain momentum. Suddenly you'll gain followers. Oh, Lakin, you asked about people being engaged. Consistency is key, and also being different and being yourself, showing pictures of yourself, talking about your own story, trying to target people who will like you. It's hard for me to really target women because in the business space, I know that men like this content, but slowly over time, I've just had to let the men thing go because even though men love business content, they don't really love hearing it from a woman as much. I know that I don't know if that's like politically correct to say, but my numbers reflect that. And so what I've been doing slowly over time is just letting that go and becoming more and more feminine with my brand. And that's something you have to think about. Who's really going to like your content? It's not going to be the same as the people that you're comparing yourself with. And so to keep people engaged, think about asking questions. Think about asking people to contribute, their health stories or their health struggles so that you can create content that answers their questions. And also do your research on health engagement. Don't just look up how to find engaged followers. Look up how to find engaged followers for your health lifestyle brand. Okay. One thing that's really helped me, you guys, is to be very detailed in any type of research I do. So I encourage you to do that too. Jackie, feminine rocks. That's true. And women, obviously women are going to like me better because I'm a woman and I talk about some of the struggles of being a mom and, being a wife and building a business and all these kinds of things. Plus sometimes I talk about my hair and my false eyelashes popping off and stuff like that. That's just going to be more appealing to women. So I've just had to embrace it and it's helping me. I thought it would hurt because I thought in order to be in the business genre and personal development genre, I needed to appeal to men. And really it helps me to let men, go. Yeah, detailed searches. Guys, that I cannot overemphasize the importance of research and specificity when you are trying to build, trying to grow, trying to do something new, and trying to be productive. I mean, a lot of times we spin our wheels researching and learning about things that aren't specific. That's not going to help you. You want to maximize that time. Okay, so unless we have any more questions, I don't see any new questions coming through, but there is a delay, and there is a good chance my phone is going to die. And I really apologize, you guys. Today was one of the days I was like, I have everything worked out. I got my tablet right here. I got my worksheets, got all the lights. My phone's got a full battery. Should have known. So I appreciate those of you who stuck with me and who let me answer your comments in real time. If you're watching this replay, come back and leave a question. I always come back and answer. And if you enjoyed this talk on productivity, I hope you'll share it because this is something I feel like people need to understand. Quit spending your precious time figuring out what to wear, figuring out what to eat, figuring out, how to start a project, how to structure your projects that you're doing all the time. Streamline it so that you can do better, more meaningful work. I will put a comment to the worksheet links, but it's thepursuit.tv/productivity. I'll put that in the comments. You just put in your email and you get all of the worksheets. And February's magazine, which is about to expire, covers productivity. There's some additional articles, things written by me, and behind the scenes from the interviews. So that's thepursuit.tv/magazine for anybody who wants to read all of that. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back next week at 10 a.m. Every week we're doing these live streams with basically Ask Me Anything, Q&A, and we focus on a specific topic or tool or thing that we're focusing on. So this month is productivity. Next month, we're going to focus on mindfulness, happiness, gratitude, having to pursue success, or how to pursue success and still find fulfillment and not become a crazy person. Okay, thanks guys for all of your comments. If you comment later, I'll be back to answer your questions, and I will leave a comment for the worksheets. All right, let's see if I can finish this.